Good morning, folks. How's it going? Recipe day today, and we got ourselves a delightful beef stroganoff. So we're pretty much going to be making the homemade noodles. I'm going to show you how to do that. Even if you don't have a pasta machine, don't worry. We can roll it by hand. It's dead simple. It's dead easy. Takes a little bit of elbow grease, but I'll show you how to do that. Also, we're going to be using, obviously, a nice sirloin steak. We're going to sear it off, and we're going to cut it. We're not going to cook it down. We're going to cook it down at the end, so we're going to cook it. So if you want it medium rare in there, you don't want it cooked all the way through. This is a nice little different or touch to it, so this is my way of doing it. Also, we're going to make that beautiful sauce. I'm going to make some beef stock with it as well. And obviously got the mushrooms, onions, garlic in there. Finished off with sour cream, parsley, maybe a little squeeze of lemon juice in there as well. But a very delicious, easy one for you to do today. So this recipe will be on my website tonight after I finish stream. I'll type it up. Also, I'll do the video edits as well. So for people on YouTube, if you want to check out this recipe, the list will be in the description box for the to my website, sorry. So feel free to go check that out if you want to. We're going to start first thing on the beef stock. So we've got some nice beef marrow bones. You can use normal beef bones, whichever's easiest. Preheat your oven to 180 Celsius, 350 Fahrenheit, and we're going to roast the bones off, put them into a tray for about 40 minutes until nice and golden. Then we're going to get them out. I'm going to prep up the veggies for the stock. So that's the first thing we want to do. Right, anyway, I got some beef marrow bones here. So I'm just going to open these bad boys up. Got this, they're vac packed tight. There's our beef marrow bones. So we've got roughly about 0.3 of a kilo. Pounds. 1.3 pounds of beef bones, which is about roughly 600 grams, correct me if I'm not. So these are actually really good as well. Alternatively, if you want to make a really dark jus or stock, these are great, especially with the marrow. Cooking it down for like a good couple of days. This is what we used to do in the industry, making beautiful, rich jus for fine dining, which was great. But we're not going to make a jus today. We're just going to make a nice, delicious stock with it. Okay, so it's going to go in for about 40 minutes. Let me wipe down my table. We're going to get the veggies prepped up next. Onion, celery. I'm going to have two cloves of garlic, peeled, crushed down. Roughly chop the onions. Roughly chop the celery, wash them obviously. The carrots, we're going to peel them, roughly chop them. Going to have a bay leaf in there. Sprig of thyme if we got some thyme in there. If not, that's fine. And one bay leaf in there as well. So we'll get that sorted. So let me wipe this down. God, these are small garlic cloves. All I wanted was like 2 or 3. So I'm going to use all of these, which will kind of make up for like 2 garlic cloves. Right, so top and tail. Beautiful, cut in half. We don't need to go fine dice or anything like that. It's just for a stock. Right, let's chop this into a rough chop. Or shall I say, we're just going to cut it into a rough chop. That'll make a little bit more sense. Top and tail the carrot, and then we're just going to peel this down. Why are you not keeping the skins? I'm so glad you asked, because the actual skins of the carrots is actually quite bitter, so we don't use that for stock. If you want to, then please feel free to do so. How do you know that? How do I know? Because I had a flying pan come at me when I was younger as a chef, and I put it in the stock, and my chef was not too happy about it. Let's put it that way. So, just a rough chop up. Perfect. Top and tail the celery, and then we're just going to roughly chop this up as well. So I'm going to put this onto a medium heat or medium high. We're going to get this nice and hot. We're going to add a tablespoon of olive oil to this. Not extra virgin. Actually, I'm going to add, sorry, not a tablespoon of olive oil. I'm going to go for canola. Extra virgin's a little bit too bitter, so I only like using the extra virgin for salads, dressings, and things like that. I don't really like cooking with it. Right, okay, so that's hot enough. So we're going to add the onions, garlic, celery, and carrots in there. So we're going to saute them off until nicely colored, and then we're going to add the rosemary and the bay leaf. But yes, on the recipe, it will be thyme, and I would recommend using thyme. Right, those are caramelized beautifully. So we've just taken them off the heat, looking fantastic. So those are good to go. So I'm going to turn that off for now. Also, we're going to chuck in the thyme, even though it's rosemary. The thyme and the bay leaf, which is supposed to be on the recipe, but we're using rosemary for today. I'm just going to quickly wash my board while we wait for the beef bones to come out. And I'm going to show you what we're going to do with the tray once the beef bones are out. Beautiful. So there's our marrow bones. Now, you got quite a bit of fat on it. I'm going to drain that off, and then we're going to dab it off. Now, there's not a huge deal of sediment and flavor, but we're still going to deglaze it. So what we're going to do, I'm going to drain off that fat. Before I do that, I'm going to take them out and pop them into the pan. Just careful you don't burn yourself. And what you want to do is just pretty much just dab it. If you wipe it, you're going to pull up all the flavor and the sediment, and it's going to be gone. So Just make sure you just dab it. As you can see, you're just dabbing off that excess grease. So we're going to put this pan, or the tray, onto a medium heat. And then what we're going to do is pretty much straight away just add like 100 ml of water, just to kind of help deglaze the pan. Or 200 ml, 100 ml, 200 ml, whichever, just about a cup or so. Just enough to kind of cover it. And then what you want to do is just grab yourself a spatula or a wooden spoon. We can use this one here. And you just want to kind of pull up all that beautiful flavor that's on there. There we go, that'll do. Perfect, so we pour that in there. I'm going to put that back onto a medium heat, and we're going to top this up with 1,500 ml of water, which is about 50 fluid ounces for you folks. So anyway, that stock's going to come up to a simmer. Once it does come up to a simmer, we're going to turn it down and obviously let it gently simmer. You don't want to boil stocks. You'll get better flavor from it if you gently simmer it. Roughly about 1 or 2 hours, and then that should be good, and we can strain that off. What we're going to do next is make the pasta noodles. You can go for plain flour. I'm going to go for 00 flour for today for the pasta, but if you haven't got 00, don't stress about it. You can use plain flour. It'll still turn out pretty good. We're going to use about roughly 100 grams of 00 flour, 10 ml of olive oil. You can use any oil that you prefer. It's up to you. Good pinch of salt as well in there. I want 1 egg, and then I'm probably going to need 1 or 2 egg yolks. Right, so 1 egg. Get that egg mixed up. You can mix the egg up beforehand if you want to add, before adding it. I'm just going to mix it up in the bowl. So we just added 1 egg yolk to this, and then we're going to mix it up. And it should be nice, bright and yellow. We're going to give this a knead for about roughly 5 minutes, just until it's smooth, and then we're going to let this rest for half an hour. We're pretty much going to start prepping up the mushrooms, the onions, the garlic, ready for the base for the stroganoffs, and then we can set that aside. We're not going to cook it off just yet, and then we can concentrate on the next thing. 2, 3, what did I say, 4 garlic cloves. We're going to cut the onion down. So we peeled it. I'm going to cut this down into a horizontal cut. The more layers you get into it, the more finer dice. Don't cut all the way through, keep the root intact, and then cut down vertically as well. And then you just want to turn it and then just cut straight across into a nice fine dice. Now when you get to the end piece, which you haven't really cut through, you just kind of repeat the same kind of process. So you cut it down, trying to keep it all together, turn it, and then just dice it up as well. Right, so I'm just peeling this down. The reason why I'm peeling it, because I want to grate it through my microplane, and if I crush it down, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to kind of peel through. So just taking the extra time to peel this down carefully, keeping it whole. Grating down the garlic now, and then we're going to add a little bit of sliced mushrooms. We're going to wipe them or wash them and then slice them. So what I usually do is damp a bit of kitchen roll, and then we just wipe it over instead of like putting them under water and then they soak up all that water. So it's not very good practices, but if you're making a soup or something like that, then I'd say, yeah, that's fine. But because it's going to be stroganoff, I don't really want watery mushrooms, so we're just going to be wiping these over. So slice these down. Don't have to go too thin with them, or you can go as thick as you want. It's entirely up to you. Next, we're going to get we're going to do the pasta next. We're going to get a pan on to boil. But yeah, look at that. It's already rested nicely. It's nice and soft now, ready to roll. So if you had your pasta machine, whiz it through, good to go. But we're going to roll it by hand and show you how to do that. All you pretty much need to do. Just want to roll this out as best as you can. And you want to get it to a point where it's almost transparent with the table. So now it does require a little bit of arm work, but it's not impossible. So that's good to go. We're going to cut this down. Also, chat, I may or may not have forgot to put my pan on for the pasta, but that's okay. We'll put it on now. So I'm going to cut this on my chopping board. Ready. So basically going to dust this with flour. Be quite, not too generous or like too crazy with it, but just enough just to kind of coat the pasta. What we're going to do is just fold this, and then we're going to just dust it with a little touch more flour. Just fold that in half. What we're going to do is slice this nicely. You're going to get some odd shapes because obviously, you know, you got the tail end curved up a little bit, but that's fine. Right. Cut these. Watch your fingers and thumbs. So yeah, sorry, straining off the stock here. So yeah, let's get a. Am I going to need a large pan, to be honest with you? Let's have a look what kind of pan I want to go for with this. Probably a large saute pan, to be fair. Or you can go for a saucepan. Saucepan or a large frying pan, that's fine. Just deep enough to hold the whole lot in there, so that's fine. So I'm going to put this onto medium heat, just to heat that up. We're going to need 50 grams of butter we're going to pop in here now. Flour, we want about 50 grams of flour. Let's grab that out now. Sorry, 60 grams of flour, not 50 grams. It was 50 grams of butter, 60 grams of flour. So we're making that roux. So we mixed in the flour now, and we're pretty much just going to cook this out for about 2-3 minutes, and then we're going to start adding the beef stock little by little until we got a nice consistency, or sauce consistency. And also, actually, sorry, very quickly, while that is actually cooking out, we do actually want to add the mustard, Worcestershire sauce, and Marmite to this before we do start adding the liquids. So let me get those out very quickly. So we're going to add the beef stock little by little, letting the roux absorb all that liquid, and then we're pretty much going to repeat that process until we got a nice sauce consistency, or good consistency to that sauce. Does need seasoning, but there's plenty of flavor in there, so it's looking great. So that beef stock has turned out an absolute treat. So we're at the right consistency here. Now, don't get too fooled, because the flour might not be totally cooked out yet. So I would leave this on. It will get thicker, and we might need to add a bit more stock. But right now, yes, this is the right consistency we're looking for. But at the same time, we're just going to let this thicken up and add more stock if we need to. So I'm just going to turn this down to a low heat to begin with. And then just keep an eye on this while we start cooking our pasta. Our pasta water is coming up to the boil, so I'm going to actually start dropping the pasta very shortly. It's pretty much, we've rolled our pasta, and we've also sliced it, so it's right there. I'm going to drop this down now. Just going to unravel them. And it's only going to take about roughly 3 minutes or so, just to kind of cook these down. So we cut these quite thick. So 2-3 minutes. It's not going to take too long, and then we're going to refresh them. And then I might refresh that water and get some more water on, so when we do this last minute, we'll drop them for a further minute, take them out, drain them off, a little bit of oil, and then we should be good to go. We can mix it in with the sauce. Once that's nice and hot, we're going to add the onions and the garlic, saute them down, and then we're going to add the mushrooms. Once they've softened up, then we're going to add that to the sauce. Right, so we're going to add the onions and garlic straight in. And start sauteing those off. And you just want to cook these down for roughly about 2-3 minutes, just until the onions are nice and translucent. Right, so those are turned nice and translucent, they're softened up beautifully. So I'm just going to add the mushrooms to it next. And we're pretty much going to soften these down as well. Right, so that's good to go. That's going to go straight into the sauce. Fantastic. Right, we're going to get another pan on. I'm going to leave the heat on. So we're going to get another pan on, ready to heat up the steak. I'm going to cook off the steak and then let it rest for 5 minutes. Alrighty. So good old pinch of salt there. So that's nice and hot. You ready for the sizzle, chat? You ready for this beautiful sizzle? And you know what? I'm going to do one at a time. I'm not going to overfill that pan. So if I overfill that pan, it's not going to get that nice sear on it. So I'm going to hold back with the second steak, and I'm just going to let that sear up beautifully. So we're going to get a little bit of salt and pepper on the other side. I'm just going to cook this roughly, with this kind of thickness, we're looking about 4 to 5 minutes each side. Don't want to go too long with it. Oh baby, look at that. I'm going to move this over, turn this down to a lowish heat, and I'm going to get our sauce on. Let me just have a wipe. Look at the grease splats on there. Right, so we want just a good sprig. Don't go too wild on this, so just twist and pull. You see all that beautiful flavor? Skullhead, thank you for the follow, and Dr. Holcheck, thank you so much for the follow. See all that? Look at that beautiful flavor, right? What are we going to do with that? Do you know what we're going to do with that, chat? It's going to go back into the sauce. So it's going to be even more beefy. This is going to go down for a minute, not long. I'm only going to put one portion down. So that'll do. I don't want to put all of it down. Let's finish this off. I'm going to knock that off. Pull this off now. Fantastic. Let me have a little taste first. Make sure his seasoning's right on it. Probably, I'm going to go start with like probably two or one. Let's go with 2 to begin with. If we need more, we can add more. 2 or 3. I feel like maybe one more. I don't want to go too sour cream with it, but let me have a little taste first. Oh, chat. Starting to get a little bit saucy now. Not gonna lie. Oh, baby. You know, finished off. Obviously, you want to put it through the sauce. That's fine by me. I'll have a little bit more sauce over the top. But I like my steak cooked perfectly. Don't want it to be overcooked in the sauce. But that's just my preference, right? You don't have to listen to me. You can have it however you like. Still enjoying beef stroganoff with the flavors and things like that. So, you know, but you still also... So yeah, there we go. There's our beef stroganoff. And my twist is not overcooked steak stroganoff, right? So we made the sauce with beef stock. So the beef stock we made was pretty much 1.3 pounds of bones that we roasted off, or 600 grams, for about half an hour, 40 minutes until golden. In a large pan, we peeled down 2 carrots, roughly chopped. Sorry, 1 carrot, roughly chopped. 2 celery sticks, washed and roughly chopped. 1 whole onion, peeled, roughly chopped. A sprig of thyme, which should be on the recipe, but I use a bit of rosemary. And 1 bay leaf. So we sauteed the veggies down till golden. Once the beef bones were done, put them in there, degreased the pan, deglazed the pan with a little touch of water, straight into the pan, topped up with 1,500 ml or 50 fluid ounces of water, and then cooked down on a medium heat, simmering gently for about roughly 2 hours until you had that beautiful beef stock ready to go. Strained it off, good to go. Pasta, 100 grams of double O flour, 1 egg, 1 egg yolk, pinch of salt, 10 ml of oil, mixed together until it's bind together a nice, bright, vibrant pasta. Very, very good. Let it rest for about half an hour, rolled it out. Rolled it by hand. It takes a little bit more work, but it also gives you a little bit more kind of, you know, exercise for the day. But it doesn't take too long. And we rolled it out until you could see the table through it. Dusted it with flour gently.
Well, it's going to take a lot of tequila to blot this out of my head.
And then we pretty much folded it again, cut it into nice centimeter strips, and then we put a pan of boiling water, cooked them for 2-3 minutes, and then refreshed them, and then cooked it for a minute when we needed to serve up the dish. Just to finish it off, take it out, drain it, dry it. It's good to go. Steak-wise, steak roughly about 4 or 5 minutes for a good, I'd say inch steak. And if you want to cook it for longer, go by all means. If you want to cook it less, you want it more rare, that's fine, whichever you prefer. For the sauce itself, so we took some of that beef stock out. We did a roux to begin with. So the roux we did was roughly 50 grams of flour, 50 grams of butter, 60 grams of flour. And then we added the 1 tablespoon of mustard, 1 teaspoon of Marmite, 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, then add in beef stock little by little until it makes a nice sauce consistency. And then pretty much in a separate pan, we cooked off the mushrooms, garlic, and the onions. Once they softened up, straight into the pan and cooked that down gently. And then to finish it off, we took it off the heat, added 2 tablespoons of sour cream to it, tasted it, seasoned it, good to go. Added the beef. You can add the beef to it, or you can put the beef on top like I did. And that's pretty much it. Finished with a bit of parsley. I mean, you could add a little touch of lemon juice into this as well at the end, but I felt like it was perfect the way it was, so it didn't need any more acidity to it, so perfect. But anyway, let's give this a try and give you some results with it. It's a different way. Oh my God. That is phenomenal. The steak, the sauce, the mushrooms, the garlic, the sour cream, so the acidity cutting straight through it. Absolutely superb. I want to get some of these noodles up. Wow, those noodles are good. Those are good. Hope you've enjoyed this recipe. I'll post it tonight. I'll post it on Discord. If you're not on Discord, !Discord. Feel free to join. And also have a great rest of your day. I'll be back tomorrow, 10 a.m. Mountain Time. Chat, have a good one. Stay safe. Amazing. All the loves. Bye for now, my friends.